Wow.
Are you crying?
It seems like I am.
Yeah.
Do you know what it is? I think
It's okay if you are crying.
It's okay to cry.
It's okay to cry. It's okay to cry.
I'm not, but it's like, let's just say I am, I guess.
Okay, thank you.
We can say.
Kofi Stone, welcome to my fort.
Hello.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm good. I'm very good. My first order of business. Would you consider yourself a poet first and then an artist? Like, is that how you got into making the music you do today? Was it from poetry? Was it from being a poet? Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I would consider myself a poet first. I started off writing poetry because my granddad did.
Mm-hmm.
I was just trying to copy what he did.
Mm-hmm. Were you close to him?
Yeah, pretty close. And and when I started writing poems, after that I discovered hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
And then I tried to rap my poems.
Yeah.
I was like 12.
Yeah.
And I tried to like rap these poems and they weren't good. they weren't good at all. So like, but I felt like, I don't know, what it was when I discovered hip hop. It was just like that. It's like my mind was just blown.
Yeah.
And yeah, so like I had these verses, poems, and I was like rapping them, and yeah, I just over time it just became a thing for me, and yeah, that was like all throughout year 7, and then yeah, as the time went by, I just started to find out how I can, like produce, make beats, or like get beats from loads of different artists, and I just started making my own songs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you release on SoundCloud first? Like, what was how did you start putting out music?
It was on, it's like Facebook.
Really?
Yeah.
Way.
It was like first on Facebook.
Like videos of yourself?
Yeah, like videos, but with there's YouTube and Facebook, so like a picture.
Yeah.
Of myself.
Yeah.
And then I just put it up on there.
No way.
Yeah.
And at first, was it like just friends and family like commenting, or did it kind of spread on Facebook? Like, what was that?
So like school, when I was in school,
okay.
it was kind of like school and school. Mostly like people that I went to school with discovered it, and they were like, "Oh, this is." Yeah, they used to be into it, and it spread that way. Also, going back, because when I was like 12, probably even, it was MySpace.
You had MySpace?
Yeah.
No way!
Yeah.
Oh my god!
So like, I used to put stuff on there as well. That was literally, as a kid, that was my thing.
But when was like the time where you thought, like, was there a certain moment or a certain song, or like, when was it that you thought like, oh, people are paying attention, like people are starting to listen?
I think around 2017. So I put out Stories in Pajamas.
Yes.
And Nothing Ain't Free.
Yeah.
And the reaction was quite cool. I remember, I think it was Link Up TV might have put up Nothing Ain't Free, the video of it, and it just got a really good reaction.
Yeah.
I remember loads of rappers that I used to grow up listening to were like commenting on it.
Really?
Yeah.
That must have been crazy.
Yeah, I was just like, it was mind blowing.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa. And then, yeah, it was just like, I'd never seen anything in that sort of like, get anything I put out, get that sort of heat on it. So that felt nice. It was like, I felt appreciated.
So you're an independent artist?
Yes.
And is that by choice?
I wouldn't say so, actually. I'd say that I've been independent for a long time, but there hasn't been that much conversations with... There's been conversations with major labels, but there hasn't been like, oh yeah. I think what happened, there was like someone from Ireland, Island Records, and they were like super on it, and then I think it got to the head, and I don't think they were like all the way in, so it kind of ended there. yeah, I think there's been like loads of stints with labels, but nothing super concrete, you know.
Is it frustrating to not be with a label, or do you look around at your peers who maybe do get signed or do get label recognition and feel jealousy towards it, or are you just are you like content on your own path that you built?
Yeah, nah, never jealous, never like. I think what I, because I'm an advocate for everyone's success, you know, and I think that sometimes I wonder the heights I could reach with a machine behind me.
Yeah.
And I wonder, you know, how far I could go with, you know, heavy promotion and a team and people that are dedicated to, you know, that love and really want the music to get out and you know, people that have ideas and because, you know, for the past 10 years it's kind of just been myself and my cousin.
Is he your manager?
Yeah. Senna. Big up Senna, man. Yeah, so it's kind of just been me and him, and we've kind of like, we've been running it on the two, man. And it's a lot of work, and we were just saying the other day, we don't even get time to relax or like, you know, celebrate or when records come out. And but yeah, I just do wonder what it would be like to have a label and people dedicated to, you know, getting the music out there. But yeah, I it's not, I mean, I don't really get frustrated about it. I'm kind of just like, just gotta make it work. In my quiet moments, sometimes I'm like, oh, man, imagine, when I have conversations with Senna, I'm like, oh, imagine if we had like a big label. You know, you see artists and it's like, you can see what happens when they're signed, the magnitude of where they can go to, and it does make you wonder. It makes me wonder.
As it stands, like, how do you fund like Kofi Stone? Like, how is the project like funded? Is it from without the label, kind of without a label? Yeah,
so everything I make goes back into the music. So I'm kind of in the situation where I'm kind of not reaping, or I'm not reaping the benefits, or being able to enjoy the fruits of my labor, I guess, because, you know, everything sort of goes back into the music. So whether that be streams or shows, it has to go back in. Whether that's, you know, you've got to fund a project or a tour. Because, it's, you know, it's one thing being independent on the record side of things, but to fund a tour is like crazy.
Because you cancelled a tour. Was that what happened?
I postponed it.
You postponed it. Sorry. I'll cancel. Sorry.
Yeah, they're going to come for me.
They're going to
start selling tickets.
You postponed a tour.
Yeah.
And I think you said this publicly, that it was due to funding or lack of funding.
It was. So I basically it got to the point where I was doing an album and a tour at the same time. And we're just looking at numbers, and we're like, it was probably something like, I think it was like 40 to 50K to do the tour. And it was like, I think we made just under that touring, so it would have been out of pocket. But then it was like, the album requires, you know, marketing, I don't know, vinyl costs, merch costs, recording costs, mastering costs, and it was like, it's doable, but it's not doable to do it at the same time as touring.
You have to pick.
So it was like, guys, I'm gonna have to. If you guys will still have me later, then let's do this later.
What was the response like to that statement?
I was super surprised, man. they were nice. They were nice about it.
Yeah,
People were like,
okay.
"Oh, we understand."
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting it. I was
Yeah.
like, people, I was.
Yeah,
I
were
kind
you
of,
stressing?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
kind of posted it and went
Yeah.
away.
Oh my god. I can't actually even imagine. Like my stomach just dropped thinking about that. Like putting that type of announcement out, because it's not. It is actually no. I've seen it more and more now. Recently,
Yeah,
of
people have
people
done it.
being super honest and just being like, I can't fund this.
Yeah,
Or people
yeah,
saying
yeah.
I didn't make X amount of ticket sales. I can't do this. But
Yeah,
I think like in all of your comms, it's been, whether it's intentional or not, like you've been so transparent about Kofi Stone.
Yes.
Like, and I think people really appreciate that because it makes them feel like they're part of the journey as well.
yes. That was the plan. I really wanted to be transparent and be as real as possible because I've you know, I think people can see through it, as you said. Yeah, so that was the plan with that.
Are you surprised at how far you've gotten your career with you and your cousin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's still like really far to go.
Yeah.
But I think the sound has travelled quite far.
I think I'm not like even I think you're so significant in like the UK scene. If I walk into a room and I say I'm going stargazing with Kofi Stone, like it's everyone I've said that to knows who you are.
Oh wow.
And knows your music and like has been affected by your music in some way, in a positive way. So like, is that like, do you ever deep that? Do you ever kind of like take a moment and think like, yeah, like I might have a long way to go. Like, yeah, I'm independent, but like it's making an impact for sure.
Yeah, I think about it. I mean, because I'm in my quiet little corner in Birmingham, I don't see it. I only see it when we, you know, do shows and things like that. But yeah, it is very surprising, and you just kind of never know. I say to anyone, you never know how far things can go. I never really anticipated that where it could go. Yeah, it's just, do you know what it is? I worry. I'm like, is that it now? Is that the end? Is that the best it's gonna be? Is everyone kind of gonna be like, okay, I've seen it. I'm done now. It's like I've seen it. I've kind of already done it now. So yeah, I do think about that because I know that sometimes people. I mean, I've seen it happen, you know, throughout the course of history where artists might have a time and then they're essentially dropped, I guess.
Yeah.
It's like that was for then and then now, you know, that was for college. That was when I was in college and that was my moment there, but I've grown out of it. So yeah, I always think about that stuff, I guess, whenever there's something good, which isn't always good because, you know, you don't always enjoy your moment. But yeah, I'm kind of, anytime I'm like mind blown by things, like I always think, how long will this last for? Or is it so I'm kind of always on
the edge a little bit.
Yeah, and I always feel like I'm playing catch up as well. So, I mean, it kind of fuels me to keep working.
Yeah, I was gonna ask if that sentiment of like this could be it, if that is paralyzing or if it is like motivating.
Yeah, I sort of have to choose for it to be motivating.
Yeah,
I've made the conscious decision whenever, you know, something happens. Like it's like, you know, life happens, right? So many different things happen. You have a choice whether to take that positively or negatively, and I always try and turn, you know, things into positives, whether that be, you know, a breakup or you know, feelings, I don't know, like something isn't going right, something is you know, maybe you're not received a certain way, people aren't paying attention, a certain section of the industry aren't paying attention. Your response can be negative or positive, you know, to anything in life. So I always try and do it positive or something that can be, I don't know, looked at and help other people in a certain way that, you know, for example, if something happens to me that is negative and I write about it, someone can now see themselves in that or identify with that and feel, you know, that's my story there. So that's always my plan.
I would love to talk about your relationship with God. When were you raised religious? Is this like something that's very natural to you, or was it something that you found?
I was raised religious. My relationship with God is a close one. I was raised religious. I was raised in a church, and I learned about God as a child. But I think I got to a certain age and I kind of wanted to find God for myself, because I know a lot of people are sort of raised in the church and they kind of have a view of God through their parents' eyes, I guess, or their guardians' eyes, or so I kind of over time found out and understood who God was through. I mean, it's pure faith. You know what I'm saying? It's blind faith. It's like the wind. You can't see it, but you know it's there, right? It's like you can feel it. And for me, there's been one instance where I've felt like it was an encounter with God, like a full-on thing. And I've always heard people talk about things like that, and I've never really, I've believed it, but I've just kind of been like, okay.
It's hard to believe unless you've
actually
like,
and I was like, you're lucky, like that's like intriguing, you know, that's proper cool. But there was one time, and it was a time when, funnily enough, I was reading the Bible, reading the Word, I was praying, I was searching, and then I was going to church, and I was literally standing up, and I just felt like it's like a vision. It was like a vision of Christ, and he kind of was just there, and he was just like with his arms out, and he said, he said, I love you. And in that moment, I just, like, tears just sort of like came down my face, and I was just like, whoa. And no one can tell me that wasn't real. I know people talk about, God isn't real, it's not, because religious psychosis or whatever, but that moment for me was legit. And so that's, since then though, haven't been able to be as close to God as I would wanted to.
And when you're kind of sitting there writing music or writing poetry or lyrics, do you feel like it's this form of prayer? Like, is there an aspect of getting close to something that isn't human?
With some songs I do like address that. There's one song on my new project called Pansy, which is the name of my granddad. The first verse is almost like I'm speaking to God, essentially, and the first lines go, "Thank you for your grace, thank you for your love," and it's I tried to do that. I tried to acknowledge that in the music, because I think, if there's a creator, then everything comes from the source, right? So that would be music, that would be art, that would be all these things. So I think tapping into that at the highest form is that.
Yeah, I think whether you're religious or believe in God or don't believe in God or believe in the universe or whatever, I feel like creativity in itself is tapping into something other than us. And I think, it's just such a beautiful, it's just a beautiful thing. Well, Kofi Stone, that's it. That was my fort experience.
Wow. How was it for you?
Oh my God, it was great.
Wow.
Are you crying?
It seems like I am.
Do
you know what it is? I think
it's okay if you are crying.
It's okay to cry.
It's okay to cry. It's okay to cry.
I'm not, but it's like, let's just say I am, I guess.
Okay, thank you.
We can say you made me cry.
Yes.
You made me cry, man.